Hello, Capricorn family, and welcome to October 2020. In so many ways, like the more I look at October, the more I feel like we're kind of coming to the heart and center of lessons that we've been working on all year, and in some cases, and I think especially when it comes to Capricorn and the cardinal signs in general, the last couple of years, the last few years. There's something really condensed and focused here in October that is asking us to really listen in deeply. And Capricorn, this is such an interesting time. The end of 2020 for you all is so symbolic and so powerful because you think about how we've been doing all this work with Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, and until pretty recently, the South Node, all moving through your sign, all working with this energy that does have to do with sometimes the shadow side and what it means to build roots and what those roots look like and are they healthy and all of these deep things that we've all been, even if you don't have Capricorn in your chart, we've all been working with. But you know, as individuals, as you grow, the symbolism of kind of closing out 2020 with those energies leaving, you know, by the time we hit the solstice in December, the only thing left in Capricorn is going to be Pluto. You're still going to have your friend Pluto, but we're really here now in October, November, coming to this culminating point. And I think especially in October with Mars retrograde and fellow cardinal sign Aries over there in fourth house energy, where you're reviewing what it means to feel safe in your body, feel safe at home, feel safe in your intimate spaces, what it means to come back to that integrity. This is just a very poetic, powerful time. Not only that, we also have a Mercury retrograde beginning this month. It starts on October 13th in Scorpio in your 11th house, and then we'll move back into Libra near the end of the month. And we'll finish on Election Day on November 3rd. So there's a lot going on. Not only that, we also have 2 full moons in October. One in Aries on the 1st, so in your 4th house, and then one in Taurus on the 31st in your 5th house of your heart. And, you know, as we move through this month and we move from Libran energy into Scorpio energy, and as we start to shift more into this time where the veil is thinning and we're really energetically connected, you're going to be finding that clarity, that you're understanding the process more and more. But here's the thing, the note that came through for Scorpios, with all of this in mind, everything I've just mentioned, the big theme this month is coming back home to the safest space inside of yourself and taking the time to make sure that you have a safe space for your inner child to go, for your inner dictator to go, for your inner gatekeeper, scorekeeper to go. All of those parts of yourself that want to protect you, want to create with you, have to have a place within yourself that's kind of connected to divine mother energy. Connected to that safe cocoon place that allows you to be in this world with all of its uncertainty and all of its intensity, that gives you some connection and respite and repose from all of that. And there's a lot of external noise right now. There's a lot moving, flowing, visiting us, you know, coming, going. Given any given day can be 5 of Wands. All right. Any given day can be very layered, 4 of Pentacles, with emotions, with visitations energetically, with inundation from your phone or from your community or from the news or from, you know, maybe just a visiting energy that can kind of throw you off your axis, right? I think October has some of that. It's a very porous time. That's what I've been saying. It's like 3 of Swords. Okay. Cappies, I'm here with you, okay? And I know we often have really intense readings, but once again, it's so interesting because this is, we're coming to the final lapse of this intense, and the Devil. That is your card after all. Okay, I'm gonna pull one more card. I've been pulling 4 this month, but I think a 5th one is in order. King of Swords. Perfect. That makes some, okay. Yeah, I can kind of see where it's going. I don't know, I think coming to the end of a longer cycle, a 3-year cycle that has taken Capricorns through so many layers of themselves and taken away certain viewpoints, worldviews, replaced it with others, inundated, and you're coming to the last weeks, the last couple of months of doing this work, especially with your ruling planet Saturn being there with you, and this Mars retrograde being in a fellow cardinal sign, having us review, having us heal. There's this visitation going on. There's a visitation around who you want to be. And it's so interesting because, like I said, the message that came through before I pulled any cards, before I sat down to talk to you, was to come back home to yourself and to find a safe space within yourself, regardless of external forces. And it's not to say we don't need help from others or that we don't need our communities and that it's, you know, that we have to do this all alone and that we have to isolate ourselves and become, you know, lone wolf hermits. It definitely helps to have, you know, a good counselor, good friends, good community, people who will hold you and also help you feel safe. Highly recommend, you know, if you have that, tap into those resources too. But it's also good to cultivate, right, some kind of cocoon, some kind of safe place you can always dip into within yourself, regardless of what's going on. And weirdly enough, what I notice with these cards, this isn't necessarily stuff coming from within you. This isn't necessarily stuff that you have to carry or own or, you know, walk through the world weighed down by these first 3 cards, right? The 5 of Wands, the 4 of Pentacles, the 3 of Swords. And even when I think about this as kind of a review. You know, you look through the battles maybe you've fought, you've looked through the walls maybe you've hit, you look through maybe some of the heartbreak you have gone through, right? Like these 3 represent kind of each of those things. And you may be kind of, especially with Mercury retrograde, in review process, kind of watching the movie of the last few months, and there may be a part of you that needs to grieve all the battles and walls and heartbreaks that have come up in that time. And I don't think that's actually a bad thing. I think this can be extremely medicinal. I think it's also what naturally occurs when you are finishing something, right? And like what you can finish can be really good. Like you can have mastered so many skills, which I also highly recommend you guys list out and note down everything you've gained, everything you've learned, everything you've mastered, because there's a lot there and we both know it, right? But it's natural, I think, to review and also feel the heartache of whatever has transpired, whatever has shifted. So I think there's that element to it. I also think there's this element of there's a lot of energy moving around, and some of that's going to be a little combative. Some of that's going to be telling you that there's not enough and that things are going really badly and that you just might as well give up and hold tight. Another one's going to tell you there's not enough love in the world. Like there's a lot of loud voices and energy right now that are like yelling these things at us, right? And they don't feel very good, and they can feel really real at certain moments. And one of the things with this whole coming back to your truest self and not letting external forces dictate your narrative, right? How you're talking to yourself, how you're treating yourself, is that you don't have to take all of that on. That's the other side of it. And actually one of the themes is that you are, as we're closing out the Saturn work and also the Jupiter work too, and as we're coming to a completely new energetic chapter in December, like really, it's just going to be such a different flavor for all of us. It's important to start opening your heart up to what's next. And that's actually what comes up with the Devil and the King of Swords. So, you know, the Devil is connected to Capricorn energy. And the beautiful thing about the Devil is there's consistency here, right? This is like showing up time and again, making things happen, being willing to get in there and build from the roots up, and enjoying it, enjoying that process. The other side of the devil, right, is where we feel chained, where we feel clasped, where we feel held or retained in an old cycle or in something that we're just, we've done everything we needed to do there. And there is an invitation, and this came in through the note too before I even pulled the cards or anything, to let yourself, despite maybe feeling maybe a little nervous, to let yourself dream and explore and ease into curiosity around this. Despite maybe feeling a little bit like, I'm not sure I can fully open myself up, the devil and the King of Swords are telling me that you can replay over and over again where maybe you ran into a wall or had a heartbreak or had to deal with conflict. But don't let the past dictate what is next, because this King of Swords is welcoming in fresh new insight. He's really opening a window, right? He's opening this like fresh, cool breeze to come through. And it offers up so much of a different flavor in your life. And there is this imaginative, playful, using your brain to imagine positive, beautiful things, or just powerful things that free you and unchain you. And it's interesting because none of the cards brought up that sacred mother energy that I felt was so important for Capricorns this month to sit with and be with, just as a tool as you navigate this quite powerful month. It's like a really dense month. It's like when matter is really smashed together really hard. It can be like the heaviest material in the world. Like Pluto, for example, speaking of a planet that's with you, it's like an extremely dense orb, right? And it's heavy for its size. October kind of has that vibe, but it also is an invitational. It's also inviting us to not live in the repeats, not live in the loop, not live in the brain wiring that tells us a story over and over again, right? And so we're having to sit and make really deliberate choices around if we're going to be in the loop or if we're going to cut clear away and move forward. And I actually have some affirmations for you to take with you this month. And before I do the affirmations, I want to reiterate here that I'm not sugarcoating or skipping over and saying, oh, these don't matter, these cards don't matter. I'm also not telling you that this is going to be some awful, atrocious month. The thing with October, just for everybody, it's a very spiritual month, which means that it's not always about the practical, take this step, do this, make this phone call, it's all done. Sometimes where our biggest revelations come from, and often, but sometimes especially, they come from a much less documentable place. They come from a process that is really unseen. It's not going to immediately be present in the physical. And it doesn't mean that it has to be this awful experience where you're just having terrible things happen to you over and over again. It is a time, though, where you're having to choose to sit and process and choose, right? And it's important to do that. It's important to find little pockets where you can do that so that you are open enough to welcome in this next phase, because it's going to continue to be complex moving into next year. But if you keep yourself locked down into a little kernel, it's going to be really hard to connect with the new energy, and you're going to be finding that you're still feeling like it's 2020, like it's Saturn still in Capricorn, and you're going to be wondering why that is. And it's because if you aren't willing to crack yourself open, and it's not just you, Capricorn, this is everybody, you're not willing to unfurl a little bit and peek through, you'll find that you feel like you're still living the same lessons. So this month is really important for that invitational. So when cards like these come up, What that's saying is, yeah, these things have happened and it's okay to acknowledge them and feel them. And yes, there are voices that are going to tell you that this is all there is and that this is the most dominant and important message. But that does not define you, and it is not what is going to choose what's next. Period. It is not. Period. There is no other way. And I just want to make that super clear. Okay, so here are the affirmations for you all. I am safe inside my imagination and my creativity. I am allowed to move forward in life and create new cycles. I allow myself to welcome in new visions of the future. I am safe here and now. These are powerful, and I know I will be taking these affirmations with me as well, because I think what a gift it is to feel safe in our imagination, right? I think we've all been there where our imagination has been a place that is not safe to visit because it will take us to these awful haunted houses that feel so real physically, so real emotionally. It's like when you wake up from a nightmare and it feels like you've lived it, right? And you're still in it. And to feel safe in our imagination means we're using that as a tool to nourish ourselves and move into the next phase. I'm going to be offering a lot of extra support on Patreon. So if you're looking for a community of like-minded people who are also exploring and figuring it out and having their own revelations and confusions, I highly recommend you come join me on Patreon. We have great conversations every week. Just a really great resource and a community of other people who are also doing this exploration. You can find that link below. You can also find me on Instagram and on my website. All of that is under Sarah Verba, so you can find all of it. I'll leave all the links. And of course, I'm wearing the lovely PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. You can find her work on her Etsy shop. I'll leave her link below as well. I will see you all for these big full moons in October and, of course, the November readings ahead. Have a beautiful October. Take impeccable care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon.